Risk management authorities in Colombia decided to evacuate the areas near the Nevado del Ruiz volcano due to its recent activity. Russian military seized of Artiomovsk, a city that has been the center of one of the most bloody battles of the Ukrainian conflict. And the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, became the maximum leader of the Rwandan Patriotic Front after winning re-election with 99.8% of the votes. From the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada. And now we begin with the news. The Risk Management Council met on Sunday in Colombia to evaluate the evolution of the activity in the Nevado del Ruiz volcano and decided to evacuate the surroundings of the area. Through a publication in its Twitter account, the governor's office of Caldas shared information on the measures that have been established for the management of a possible emergency caused by the volcano. Among these measures, the governor's office confirmed that as a form of prevention, 40 families living in the surroundings of the volcano area will be evacuated. After learning about the current volcanic activity from the Unified Command Post in the municipality of Villa Maria, Caldas decided to declare a public calamity and manifest urgency in the municipality, which will allow it to allocate resources and make the decisions it needs to handle a possible emergency. In Ecuador, the death toll has increased to 27 following a landslide in the Alausi municipality. The Risk Management Secretariat reported that rescue teams are searching the missing people. The agency detailed that over 1,000 people were affected by a landslide and that they were waiting for the government to provide them with assistance. Meanwhile, the prosecutor's office indicated that the bodies found will be handed over to the victims' families. According to local media, the authorities of Alausi municipality, with the support of the Red Cross, have set up 4 temporary shelters to provide care to the evacuees. Also in Ecuador, President Guillermo Lasso authorizes civilians to possess and carry weapons for personal defense, and has also announced a state of emergency with curfew in Guayaquil, Durán, and San Borondón, as well as in the provinces of Santa Elena and Los Rios. In a message to the nation, he announced a series of urgent measures to combat the common enemy formed by delinquency, drug trafficking, and organized crime, explained the president. In this sense, he detailed that the manufacture, registration, and possession of handmade weapons will be prohibited, that controls and computerized registry will be established, and that the Public Security Secretariat will assume the coordination actions. Lasso explained that they have identified 15 high-value targets that they are following and intend to capture. Ecuador faces a deep crisis of violence led by the increase of drug trafficking in the western regions of the country. In Argentina, the President Alberto Fernández leads the main ceremony for the 41st anniversary of the beginning of the Malvinas War in Almirante Brown, province of Buenos Aires. During the ceremony for the Day of the Veterans and the Fallen in the War conflict, the President highlighted the importance of the date, not only to remember the fallen, but also to keep alive the claim of sovereignty over the Malvinas and to build a Malvinas consciousness. During Saturday night and early Sunday morning, many people participated in the vigil for the glorious deed of Malvinas in the city of Rio Grande, in the province of Tierra del Fuego. The war between the Argentine and British forces, which began on April 2nd, 1982, ended on June 14th of the same year and left 649 Argentine soldiers dead. The European nation registered 255 casualties. And the Dominican Republic anti-narcotics agents seized more than 2 tons of cocaine hidden in a banana shipment. According to a spokesperson for the Dominican Republic's National Drug Control Office, authorities confiscated 2,188 packages of cocaine during a 10-hour-long operation at the Caucedo terminal, which is considered the largest drug confiscation to date on the Caribbean island. The container came from Ecuador, and its final destination was Rotterdam, the Netherlands. Following a similar modus operandi, on March 30th, the Norwegian police confiscated some 800 kilos of cocaine in Oslo, also hidden in a banana shipment. And the former U.S. President Donald Trump announced he will give a speech next Tuesday night from his Mar-a-Lago residence in Florida after charges are handed down against him. The former president faces an investigation into the alleged payment of $130,000 to a porn actress to hush up allegations of an extramarital encounter during his 2016 presidential campaign. Trump is expected to appear in court in Manhattan early Tuesday, local press reports, and the hearing will take place in the wake of the grand jury's decision to bring charges against the politician who has become the country's first former president to be criminally indicted. The Republican politician will be the first former U.S. president to face criminal charges. Let's take a short break. But first, remember you can follow us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, and if you will be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back from the south. In Russia, an explosion at a restaurant in downtown St. Petersburg claimed 1 person's life. The deceased was war correspondent Maxim Fomin, better known by his pseudonym Vladimir Tatarsky. In addition, 25 people were injured, 19 of whom were hospitalized, according to the local governor, Alexander Beglov. The incident happened during an event dedicated to the journalist. Preliminarily, it is believed that an explosive device exploded near the scene. The power of the device was equivalent to more than 200 grams of TNT. The Russian Investigation Committee opened a criminal case, and all the circumstances and details of the crime are being established. On Sunday, the leader of the Wagner units confirmed the complete seizure on April 2nd of the territory of Artiomovsk and confirmed that the Russian flag flies over Artiomovsk. The city, that has been the center of one of the most bloody battles of the Ukrainian conflict, is finally controlled by the troops loyal to Moscow. Evgeny Prigozhin, leader of the Wagner military group, has dedicated the conquest to the Russian journalist Vladimir Tatarsky, killed on Sunday in an attack in St. Petersburg. The military commander explained that the Ukrainian forces remain in some western districts, and that the Russian commanders have already taken over the administrations of the city, so the so-called Donetsk People's Republic. In South Africa, the governing party, African National Congress, reported that senior officials are on a working visit to Russia. In a statement issued on Saturday night, the African National Congress Party reported that the visit was at the invitation of Russia's ruling party and ally, the United Russia Party. The engagements will include discussions on recalibrating the world order to reverse the consequences of neocolonialism and the prevailing unipolar world. The 4-day trip took place on the eve of the 15th BRICS Summit to be held in Pretoria. The ANC delegation, led by Obed Papela, who heads the International Relations Committee, arrived on Thursday and is expected to remain in the country until this Sunday. South Africa's ties with Russia go back decades, when the Kremlin supported the ANC in its struggle against apartheid. The French Ministry of Interior confirmed investigations opening into accusations of excessive police force during the repression of popular demonstrations. In declarations to the press, Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin highlighted repeated warnings issued by lawyers' unions, left-wing parties, the Ombudsman, and various non-governmental organizations about excessive police actions. Darmanin pointed out that these 36 judicial investigations are now added to 2 ongoing processes, which in total result in 38 investigations. The official recalled that in 2021, 111 police persons and gendarmes were prosecuted for disproportionate use of force, 10 more than those prosecuted in 2020 for the same reason. And the leader of Spain's new political platform, Sumar, Yolanda Díaz, announced this Saturday her candidacy for the presidency of the country in a crowded act in a sports center in Madrid. The also second vice president and minister of labor in the Iberian nation declared she felt she could be useful to her country. During her speech, she made a call for new forces to join her political party. The Sumar project has the support of a dozen left-wing organizations and defends the positions of the Galician politician known for being a negotiator, dialogue, and far from the media noise. The new candidate for the elections in December this year will be a rival of the current ruler, Pedro Sánchez, a leader of the Spanish Socialist Workers' Party, and another Galician, Alberto Núñez Feijóo, the president of the Conservative Popular Party. And Montenegro's political establishment was rocked on Sunday after longtime leader Milo Đukanović suffered a crushing defeat in a presidential runoff to the upstart Jakov Milatović, ending decades of rule by the incumbent. During a victory speech at the headquarters of his Europe Now party, Milatović stated that together with all the citizens of Montenegro that had said a decisive goodbye to crime and corruption, adding that Sunday night was the one they have been waiting for more than 30 years. The Center for Monitoring and Research polling group said Milatović had secured 60% of the vote. Official results are expected later in the week, but as the scale of the landslide became clear, Đukanović acknowledged his defeat while wishing Milatović success as the president. And Finland's center-right leader Petteri Orpo claimed victory in Sunday's general election, with the far-right Finns party in second place, ahead of Prime Minister Sanna Marin's Social Democrats in third. The biggest party in parliament traditionally gets the first chance to build a government, and since the 1990s, that party has always claimed the Prime Minister's office. The head of the far-right Finns party, Riikka Purra, thanked her supporters for the party's best election result ever. With 96% of votes counted, the center-right was credited with 48 of the 200 seats in parliament, the far-right with 46 and the Social Democrats with 43. On Sunday, Bulgaria held its fifth general elections in 2 years with low voter turnout. According to Central Election Commission, some 6 million Bulgarians were expected to vote, but as of midday local time, only 9% of the electorate had attended the polls. Experts estimate that voting intentions in the elections stand at 25% and that the outcome of the elections will not change the climate of political instability in the Balkan nation. TeleSUR English continues to grow. You can now tune in from 33 different African countries through StarSat. Dial 461 and enjoy our Latin American alternative broadcast. One final short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, became on Sunday the maximum leader of the Rwandan Patriotic Front after being re-elected with 99.8% of the votes. With an eye on the 2024 presidential elections, the ruling party closed the primaries, in which the Rwandan ambassador to Indonesia, Abdul Karim Harerimana, Kagame's only contender, obtained only 3 ballots against the 2.99 of the nation's president. Kagame, Rwanda's president for 22 years, will now serve another 5 years as head of the Rwandan Patriotic Front, the political party he has led since 1998. Condoleezza Uwimana, the first woman to become the formation's vice president, was also elected in these elections with 1,945 votes. In Sudan, leaders have postponed until next week the signing of an agreement to resume a short-lived democratic transition, an official said, amid continuing disagreements between military factions. Security reforms are a key focus on negotiations held in recent weeks based on a preliminary agreement reached in December to install a civilian government. The signing ceremony, originally scheduled for Saturday, is now expected on Thursday to finalize technical issues related to the form or the reform of the security forces, said Khalid Omar Youssef, spokesperson for the talks. Sudan's worsening economic situation has put pressure on all parties to reach an agreement. The country has faced chronic foreign currency shortages since South Sudan's recession in 2011, exacerbated by foreign aid cuts since the coup.
Both the military and civil sides have unanimously decided to intensify their efforts to resolve the outstanding technical issues starting from tonight until April the 6th and do their best to finalize their agreement on these remaining issues before April the 6th. If finalized, the signing will take place on that same day. This was an unanimous decision.
The first group of South Sudanese soldiers arrived on Sunday in Goma City, Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. The group of at least 45 soldiers joined a regional military force in the region, ravaged by the M23 rebellion. The seven-nation military force from the East African Community was created last June and is to oversee the withdrawal of the M23 fighters from Eastern DRC. Much of the region is plagued by dozens of armed groups, a legacy of regional wars that erupted in the 1990s and 2000s. Several regional initiatives aimed at diffusing the conflict, such as ceasefire, have failed to materialize. March 30th was supposed to mark the end of the withdrawal of all armed groups, according to a timetable adopted in mid-February by the East African Community. On Sunday, 92 asylum seekers were rescued off the Libyan coast while attempting to cross the Mediterranean Sea to Europe. The group included 9 women and around 40 unaccompanied minors. They traveled without life jackets on board an overcrowded and almost completely deflated dinghy. After the assassination of Muammar Gaddafi and the fall of his regime, Libya has become a popular route for migrants from sub-Saharan Africa, the Middle East and South Asia. Days before the rescue operation, UN-backed human rights experts say there were evidence for crimes against migrants and Libyans. Rescue ship Ocean Viking is carrying the migrants to the port of Salerno, located over 800 kilometers away from the rescue site. The UN agency estimates that in 2022, 1,417 asylum seekers disappeared in this migratory route. In Syria, United Arab Emirates ship arrives loaded with more than 2,000 tons of humanitarian aid. After 2 months of the devastating earthquake that struck 4 Syrian provinces, aid from the United Arab Emirates continues to arrive in the Arab country, where a ship from this Gulf country docked at the port of Latakia, bringing on board aid to the victims of the disaster. The ship is loaded with 2,215 tons of humanitarian assistance provided by the UAE at Red Crescent, anchored Sunday in the said port. Head of the UAE Red Crescent delegation, Mohammed Al-Kaabi, told Sana that this is the second UAE aid arriving in the country by sea and includes various relief materials, food, health supplies, and medicines to support the health sector. OPEC Plus members announced a cut in oil production. The reduction will be of more than 1.5 million barrels per day, and the largest cut will be implemented by Saudi Arabia and Russia. Saudi Arabia's energy minister announced his decision to voluntarily reduce crude oil production by 500,000 barrels per day in coordination with other OPEC Plus members, reports the state agency Saudi Press. The measure will come into effect in May and will last until the end of the year. The United Arab Emirates also joined the initiative and will make a cut of 144,000 barrels per day during the same time. The voluntary decrease in daily oil production will also be carried out by Oman, Kuwait, Iraq, and Algeria. Russia will also implement a voluntary cut of 500,000 barrels of oil per day, while Kazakhstan will do the same with a total of 78,000 barrels. The announcement of the oil production reduction comes on the eve of the meeting of the Joint Ministerial Follow-up Committee, a tool created by OPEC Plus members to monitor joint work planned for Monday. And we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media for all the latest news. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.